So our subject continues the purification of the mind. And we are learning and understanding the conventional methods for the purification of the mind. We have started learning conventional methods for the purification of the mind. How many times during the day we are upset? Think of it. That is the impurity of the mind. How many times we are upset, anxious, and excited? How many times we feel we are tired, disinterested, lack of focus, sad, lonely? And how many times we feel, I do not want to live with this or that person, this or that situation, this or that condition? It is the impurity of the mind. The mind is impure. So our master suggests that we should follow the conventional methods to purify the mind, and then we see the world. If I see the world with the impurity of the mind, or I see the world with the purity of the mind. So the first, there are many conventional methods, and one of them is Yajna. So Yajna, Sanskrit word. So literally it is translated as to connect, contribute, and grateful or gratitude. What is gratitude? It's just a thankfulness, appreciation. It is coming from the mind. So the mind is not bringing out the reaction, anxiety, duality, and a conflict. It lives in the state of gratefulness and appreciation. And what do you mean by the contribute? One meaning of contribution is impact, another is support. So first you are supporting and connecting mentally and emotionally with the world outside. Normally, how we connect to the world? By the desire, by hatred, by jealousy, by likes, by dislikes. Then just think of it. So what is the secret behind this conventional method? The more is the inspiration of giving, more we get it. Again, I'm repeating, more the inspiration of giving attitude in the mind, increasing the sensitivity of getting more. So when the mind is impure, we are very less sensitive. Sometimes people say that, I am very sensitive. No. You are totally insensitive to others. You are very sensitive to yourself because of your ego. I'm redefining. Think of it. No, I'm very touchy. No, we will not touch you if you are touchy as well. Live your life. Think of it. How the masters explain and understands the relationship of the mind with the world outside. So that yajna or connect, contribute, and gratitude is not possible when we have a low mind, when our mind is impure, when we live with the animal mind. That mind is not developed. Why the parents give candy to their kids? Think of it, giving more, getting more. Do you think that? Candy, not giving the candy to exploit our kids, but giving more, getting more. So that emotional and mental attitude must change towards the world outside. The mind has a specific and conditioned attitude towards people, towards our relationship, towards our profession, towards our family, toward no. So when that conventional method is applied, when we should apply all the time. So we should not forget to follow this conventional method in our daily living. The moment you start, you are happy. Because what the mind is saying contribute, be grateful. So before you start any action, living in the world, you are happy. During the action, you are happy, and after the action, you are happy. So this purifies the mind. So the mind is not stuck, mind is not attached, mind is not conditioned, and when we decondition the mind, the life changes. Not only that, not only it purifies the mind, but we start living 24 by 7 in the state of the calmness, peace, and the purity. So we are still talking about, we are still understanding the conventional methods. You may remember that without purification of the mind, mindfulness, the highest state of mindfulness, awakening, and realization is not possible. Not at all possible. Recall those 5 different skill sets of the mind. Continued effort, like a crow, Bakudhyanam, focus like a crane, sleep like a dog, and filtering the food and the thoughts. Impure mind always sees the world as the source of happiness. Now, we are understanding another part. Where is that? When the mind is impure, even intellectually you are convinced, you have understood the concept, but the mind is impure, it will continue to see the world as the source of the happiness. What is that world? People, relationship, personal life, professional life, social life. So what the master is saying, that we are negating the world created by the mind. Mind has created the world of likes and dislikes, of selfishness. So we are negating that world. That is created by the mind. I believe you all are getting it. Negating does not mean that you leave the world. Negating does not mean that you destroy the world. Negating does not mean, no, I will leave the house like the Buddha, then only I can get the enlightenment. He returned home again. Where you want to live, where you want to go. It is the same world anywhere, everywhere. So negating, now I'm using another word so it will make you instantly aware. This outer world is the place of reflected happiness. It is not the place of real happiness. I see front door and the sunlight is there, and that sunlight is reflected too far on the wall. So the world is a place of reflected happiness to teach us, to guide us, to inspire us to discover the permanent happiness within. So happiness and reflected happiness are two things. So when we use the word negating, we are negating the reflected happiness. We instantly become aware. I may become egoistic for a while, I get some pleasure. After that, it is gone, and then I go and repent. I like something, I get the pleasure, and after that, pleasure is gone. That is why it is reflected happiness. So these conventional methods, reorientation, it's a kind of a reorientation in my life. We have been talking that how it is possible to live in the state of mindfulness 24 by 7. What is the negation? Again, understand. We both are walking. So this is your home? No. So negated it. So negated does not mean that you have destroyed the neighbor's home. How the mind is reflecting, seeking happiness in the world has been negated. Are you getting it? We are understanding the conventional methods to purify the mind, and that conventional methods helps us to reconnect with the world. That helps us to evolve. So we have to get rid of that reflected happiness which is not there, that causes the delusion, and that further makes the mind impure. And that is why these conventional methods to purify the mind. So we have the yajna is the first, second is the charity, we will talk about it, austerity, japa, pilgrimage, and the vows. So we are understanding the yajna. So first, so yajna also has different yajna also has a different classifications. The first one that we covered last week, Yajna. We should also be clear that this yajna redefines our daily life, our thought, and our speech and action. It's not difficult to understand. The moment you wake up in the morning, your mind has those thoughts and feeling and emotions, how to contribute and be grateful. Instead, you wake up in the morning and the mind returns to the same old stuff, doing the things again and again and expecting a different result. That mind changes completely. Now we have covered with the Yajna, the 5 elements, including the sun, are given a status of a god. Why God? Because God means giving. Giving. So when they are giving, how can I contribute? How can I be grateful? That is the main essence of the yoga. So the first we have covered first we have covered Devi Yajna. The second is, but before that we should be very clear. I think I covered that last week, that all our achievements, success, prosperity are related to the existence outside. The moment you say I achieve, I am successful. The moment I say I have a prosperity, it is related to the existence. So I recognize, I connect to it, I am grateful to it. That is what yajna is. So the first part, we have covered Yajna. The second and third. They are known as the Brahma Yajna and the Pitra Yajna. Pitra literally means parents or elders, or you can say the way I'm related to youngers, elders, and equals. And the Brahma Yajna, Brahma means, the infinite source or the supreme self, or you can also say the real self. So again, I think that, from where I am teaching because the knowledge has been passed to me from my ancestors, from the tradition, from where the knowledge of the science has been passed to me so that it makes my life easy and comfortable. It is coming from the entire, whether it's a tradition of the science or whether it's a tradition of Eastern wisdom. My guru passed on the knowledge to me, his master, then his master. Thousands of the masters have passed on the knowledge to us. So I need not to rediscover this knowledge again and again. So what happens, the Brahma Yajna, there are two meanings of this. We need not to become a teacher, but support that knowledge by living in it days after days to change ourselves. How? By thinking, by speaking, by acting in daily life. So, because you have become your own teacher with that knowledge, so people around you, you are ready to express that knowledge. And if you have the past impression, you are going to become a teacher. So your responses, your attitude in your personal, professional, social, and the family life changes. It changes the family. It changes the society. So in a larger context, it is considered as a Brahma Yajna. I have learned from you, now I understand. And then after the session, you go into your own shell and you start reacting and angry and agitated. That is not learning. That is not learning. That is not learning. Why? The knowledge is universal, it is absolute. Knowledge does not change. But the impure mind takes over the intellect and it says, no, I'm restricted only to the session once or twice or thrice a week, but my mind does not want me to change. So the impurity will remain. Third part of this yajna is known as the Pitra Yajna. Pitra means pertaining to the parents, but it has a larger context. First, my mind becomes aware who is higher to me, who is lower to me in the society, in the family, and who is equal to me. Equal to me, obviously, it may be a sibling, it may be a relationship between the couple. So I respect, I recognize their contribution and give more at the mental and the emotional level. Mental attitude, gratitude. Connecting to it, thankfulness. And it purifies the mind. How it purifies the mind, think of it. At least you remove that ego has no place in relationship. You are consciously working that ego has no place in your relationship. Whether it's a relationship with the older, relationship with the younger, or relationship with the equal. One word, ego. So when you don't have that sense of ego, whether in your personal life, in your professional life, in your social life, Your mind is pure and it has refreshed thinking. It starts thinking differently. Or can I say that when you perform this kind of a yajna, you are crushing your ego. What is the meaning of crushing your ego? You are destroying the wrong notions in your relationship. The moment you drop the wrong notions in your relationship, you start living in peace and happiness. Ego is expressed by thinking, by a specific attitude, by a specific emotion. We have covered Ashtavakra Gita, the first chapter. So in the fourth and fifth chapter, that master says, where there is ego, there is the impurity of the mind and bondage. Where there is no ego, there is the purity of the mind. So, but when I'm contributing and I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm also using the ego, but that is pure ego. Use the pure ego. Use the pure ego. There is no problem. There is another master who says that we should live with a ripe ego. We should not live with the unripe ego. What is unripe ego? Impure mind. What is ripe ego? Pure mind. That is how our masters. One more thing that I want to cover. So we have covered the three types of yajna. The first was the deviates, pertaining to the non-living things, elements and sun and solar system, earth. Second is the pitra yajna, pertaining to our relations, and brahma yajna, pertaining to from where we receive the knowledge. Knowledge of anything. It's not pertaining to knowledge of the Eastern wisdom, so I should be thankful and grateful to those people. Three types of yajna. So what happens now? You wake up in the morning, you connect to these elements, you connect to your family and relations, and you connect to those invisible who have left us, who has passed on the knowledge. So what is going to happen? Your mind, instead of living unconsciously, it starts living consciously. It does not invite the same likes and dislikes. Violet likes and dislikes, connected, reflected happiness. I like someone because it is a reflected happiness. So instead of forcing my mind on the reflected happiness, my mind starts caring, being grateful. It connects easily with the people and relations outside. It gives you a new meaning in your relationship. It has an element of love instead of attachment. It has an element of affection instead of likes and dislikes. No, but what about others if they hate? Let them do it. It is their responsibility. It is their problem. Impure mind says, oh, if you are reacting, I am also ready to react. Pure mind says, no, not required. I am grateful to all. And that is why I am connecting to you. I am thankful to you all. That is why I am connecting to you. I like you. That is why I am connecting. One day, after a few days, you are going to dislike. The mind has to change its. Mind is like a pendulum. You like and ultimately you move it. The last point that needs to be, again I'm repeating, we say that real self is all pervading. It is of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. The world outside is nothing but the manifestation of the same consciousness. My relations, my personal, professional, and social life, that real self is always present. To discover that, to realize that from a moment to moment. These conventional methods play a significant role. In order to do, either you say you purify the mind, or I can say that you get rid of that ego which is working on the preferences, on the likes and dislikes, on the profit and the loss, on the basis of the pain and pleasure. What it means? Impure mind means I'm important. Pure mind means everyone is important. Just try this even for a week and you will see how light you feel, how fresh you feel, how relaxed you remain all the time. Impure ego, based on the desire, it says, give me what I want. Pure mind or pure ego, let me contribute first and then see. I will accept what you give me. Your mind is already free. Mind is not wandering. Mind is not focused on the impurity. So when it means that internally, mentally and emotionally we are serving, we are doing a service to the existence through our family life, through our personal life, through our professional life, in turn, because we are giving more, we will definitely get the return. That is the principle of these three parts of the Yajna. We'll cover two more parts. Close your eyes now. Close your eyes. Position of the body. Yes, I have silently changed the practice by giving you the understanding and the knowledge. Position of the body, eyes are closed. And again I am repeating, my friends, how fast we are settled in the comfort. I believe you still remember, you might have done the practice, 3 lanes in the mind. So you look at, now see, the lane number 1, the thoughts are still coming, unwanted, uninvited. You don't want these thoughts should come into the mind at the time of doing the meditation, but they are coming and going. That is lane number 1 on a highway of the mind. Lane number 2, in the instructions that I am giving you, and lane number 3 is the result. Knowledge is realized. So you are clear. So now see instruction. Look at the neck joint. So that is the knowledge. You are looking, you are aware, you feel. What do you feel? Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. It has to do with the lane number 3. But lane number 1 keeps on with the thoughts unwanted, unwelcome. Oh, let it go. Who cares? Do you care how many vehicles are running on the other lane while driving? Pay attention. The more our mind the more our mind is obsessed with the others, there is some sense of impurity in the mind. So move the mind on the shoulder joints. Again, I'm using the same three-lane concept, which can be realized at every moment. Shoulder joints, feel sensation, comfort, and steadiness. You experience that even in the presence of the lane number one. You're not participating. And then you see how deeply you are settled in a comfort. The entire body, from the top of the head to the toes. So it is not the body important. Body is just a reference point. That is what the instruction is. And then what is the result? Sensation, comfort, and steadiness, my friends. So result is my knowledge and experience. So in that state, we move to being carefree. It's very easy now for you to understand what it means by being carefree. I told you that being carefree means free from all the cares of the mind. So which mind? Lane number one. Unwanted, unwelcome thoughts are entering into the mind. So lane number one. Feelings of the past, memory, images, habits, likes and dislikes. You will still recognize. We will never forget, we will always recognize likes and dislikes, but you are not participating into it. Why? Because you have a knowledge. That is lane number two. You're listening to the instructions. Leave it. And the third is the experience of being carefree. 3 lanes. I think I explained it last time. I'm repeating it. Highway of the mind has 3 lanes. Lane number 1, unwanted thoughts coming from the past, habit because of the impure mind, impurity in the mind. If the mind is not naturally pure, you cannot purify the mind. We follow that concept. So it means the lane number 3 is always present. No, but that I don't recognize because I'm living in ignorance. So lane number 2, we remove that ignorance. Now the same thing applies to the mantra. Lane number 1, we are aware, we don't disturb. Lane number 2, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. You see that you are removing that ignorance of the mind. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. You see how subtler the knowledge is, the way the masters have discovered, validated for thousands of years. Only a seeker can understand. What is the meaning? Let there be happiness for all or wellness for all. But the mind questions that why I should pray, and if I pray for happiness for all, will everyone be happy? No, it's not that question. By saying this, I recognize that wellness or happiness is our essential nature. If it is my essential nature, It is the essential nature of every living being, including the relations around me. No, but my honey, my parent, my son becomes angry over me. It is his and her approach to seek happiness. What should be your approach? The mantra helps us to realize here is the impurity, I'm not going there. Here is a purity, I'm going there. I believe that makes your mind clear. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Let there be peace for all. I believe you are getting the message of the Masters. Peace is our essential nature. If it is my essential nature, it is veiled by the impure mind. I will not support the impure mind. I will support peace is my essential nature. If others are reacting in a different way because they are living in their mind is impure and living in ignorance, what can I do? My contribution is to respond in peace and happiness. That is my contribution. That is your contribution. That is why we are doing the mantra. I believe you are getting the message correctly. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. All the impurities of the mind is caused by the reflected happiness, means my mind is seeking happiness and peace from a situation, from a person. But why I do that? Because I feel the sense of incompleteness in me. By hook or crook, by force or pressure, or by exploitation, I want that happiness which does not exist because it is reflected. So where lies the happiness? In me, peace in me, love in me, wisdom in me. Oh, that is the message. May there be completeness in all. The body of the mosquito is not going to change to the human body. They are all complete in oneself. That is the beauty of the existence. Even the tiger is stronger than me. I cannot become the tiger body. Existence is complete in itself. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Let there be auspiciousness, so that auspiciousness comes first the knowledge of the happiness, of peace, of completeness is living in the lane number 2. It moves to the lane number 3 naturally. Naturally, the flow, like the flow of the water. Lane number 2 is just little above, little higher than the 2. So it inclines, it leans towards lane number 2. That is why we say the mindfulness or meditation is an effortless journey. Knowledge is realized. let us maybe look inside the cave of your heart, sing Om. Mind seems to stop. It's a checkpoint. Whether I can easily be absorbed without further purifying the mind, or Shanti, and you are already there. See? So when you are already there, then we say that you need not to do any breathing practices and other external means to purify the mind. So you can guess where we are going. By the same steps, we are going into a deeper and a higher journey. But we will continue. So, looking now inside the forehead in the space, Om Shanti continues. Why Om Shanti continues? So that the mind, during the breathing process, should not identify with the lane number 1. So lane number 2 keeps that knowledge intact. So living there in that state, in the state of comfort and steadiness, start breathing quick and fast from the chest. Continue expansion and contraction of the chest. It is quick and fast. Body is steady. The mind is dropping Om Shanti. That is lane number 2. And the lane number 1 is doing its activities. Let it be so. No worries. And stop it. Do nothing. If I say lane number 3, I believe you understand it. Just an experience. Knowledge has to be realized, because if you don't consciously know it, how can you know that you are in meditation? That too is very important. Keep on, continue Om Shanti inside the forehead. Now is the time to do the belly breathing. Start. Inhale, the belly goes out. Exhale, the belly goes in. Om Shanti continues. You are aware of the lane number 1? Yes. If there is anything, you are aware. If there is nothing, you are aware. That's how you say that, there is nothing. Mind is empty. Oh, we're going very subtler level of the journey. Belly expands when you inhale. It's a longer breath. Obviously, you have a hissing sound. Why? It's a longer breath. Lower lobes of the lungs are bigger than the upper lobes of the lungs. Normal. Physiology. So we get the knowledge from the science. So when we do like this, we will also understand clearly whether we are breathing from the diaphragmatically or the rib cage breathing. That's going to help us physiologically. But we have left all those things too far. Continue, my friends. Continue. Belly breathing. You may experience some changes. Experiences. Lane number 3. Who prevents lane number 1? But you continue. How? By the knowledge, lane number 2. So I'm making it very clear. If you are going through all the lessons, especially the previous lesson, it becomes easy for you to understand. And stop this. Just experience. You have an experience of lane number 3. You have an experience of lane number 1, which is habitual, unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. You have a new experience supported by the knowledge. You are clear. So there is no reaction at all. I believe you are getting it, my friends. And now continue with Om Shanti and start breathing both from the belly and the chest. Long, deep in the hissing breath. With the right knowledge, you may be absorbed even during the breathing practice. What to say in the next step. And that helps us to go deeper into the meditation. So, in a way, when we are doing this breathing, we are using the optimal capacity of the lungs. We are using all the lobes of the lungs, if I say it scientifically. You are filling the air into the lower lobes, middle lobes, and upper lobes. Continue. and stop this, do nothing, experience. I'm not saying that the lane number one will go easily, but you are not participating into it, the right word. I learned last week, last in the last session. And you are also not participating in the lane number three. It is natural experience. Oh, if that is the way, then definitely meditation is an effortless process. And now start breathing deep, silent, and slow. We will go for the nyasa. As you inhale, the mind begins singing, moving from the crown of the head, Om, reaching to the tailbone, dropping Shanti. Exhaling, mind rises with the singing of Om and Shanti on the crown of the head. Very deep, very subtle. Why very subtle? Many reasons. One of the reasons that you prevent the lane number one to become aggressive, reactive, and preventing you the journey. The subtler awareness you have, you can recognize what is triggering in the lane number one. So when you know it, they dissolve. They dissolve, yes. Now, leave this nyasa practice. Now, all are passive steps. Looking into the cave of your heart, triangle, dropping Om Shanti on each side of a triangle to check and be clear that you're not going to the lane number one and not at all concerned about it. So that means the mind has a natural flow. And when it has a natural flow, pushing the mind with the singing Om mentally, inside the cave of your heart, mind seemingly stops. You drop Shanti and absorbed. Absorb means you have no care, no worries. There is just a pure awareness. Everything is happening, but just, but well, if the mind, lane number one, breaks the pattern, no issue. Go back to the triangle. As you have learned from the previous lessons, When you discover this, moving the mind on a triangle with Om Shanti and pushing it inside is just a very natural, as if you are not doing nothing. You remember, you know it, and it happens. What I said, you remember, you know, and it happens. So what happens to meditation? Meditation is a happening process, it's not a doing. Lane number 2, the knowledge you receive there, it becomes so powerful that you can bypass any trigger from the lane number 1. Can we say knowledge is power? Yes. But it happens to only to a seeker. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand. Is it knowledge? Check. Knowledge is awareness, awareness. Move the mind on the left hand. I said move the mind. It is not an action. A little action comes when I say raise both your palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. How are you, Stephen?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Quite absorbed in this meditation. Right from the start. I mean, as soon as you started the lesson, I just felt this movement of just being absorbed into myself. Just like peace, happiness, and very grateful. So
Very
thank you.
good. Thank you. You know, you are absorbed because the lane number one is not challenging us. To be very clear, impressions are still there. That is why we have to continue the journey. But now, it does not causes any disturbances during meditation and during day-to-day activities. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. Very deep, very fast. I really am enjoying the three-lane lesson, and I found myself this week using it during the day. And I would slot certain times to be in lane 1, 2, and 3. Just going through things. I realize that sometimes I have to drive through lane 1 to get somewhere. But then I'm quickly realizing that, and then I can sort of bounce out of it and get into lane 2. So from a practical perspective, I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. And this lesson was just really most of my time in lane 2 and 3. It's great.
Oh, beautiful. I'm so happy you have started applying that in day-to-day life. And it works. You instantly recognize, oh, lane number 1. No. Mentally, everything is mental. It has nothing to do with anything physical, Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. Similar to Stephen, I put my hands to my neck, my cold hands to my neck at a point to warm them up, and then they became kind of sweaty and warm and stayed that way through the practice. And I love listening to you. I respectfully love you, and thank you for the sharing of all the knowledge. And I just find myself humbled through the day when I meet resistance with something. I realize that it's not my intention to meet the resistance. So then I look at it because I'm just like I'm wanting something to shine, somebody to share. They're get really not superficial, but down to the core and share their being and their ideas. And sometimes that's met with a lot of resistance. And so I just back up and realize that it's all in time. And I just feel really humbled.
Beautiful. I would say, Jerry, thank you very much for caring me. Another part of the humility is the natural result of the journey. You are always humbled. But now then the question comes, I can be humble moving through the door. But if there are people like the wall, what should we do? So we are going to learn that. So you shout, but you don't mean shouting. You rehearse. You become a Hollywood actor. You get the things done and finish. You are ready to shake hands to whom you have shouted. Normally in shouting, the anger comes, the impurity of the mind comes, the lane number 1 is active. But we don't make the lane number 1 active. Through the lane number 2, we do it. We get the things done. I'll cite hundreds of examples in the text, and the master, they have passed it. Wonderful. So now we'll go to Yes, let us go to Brandy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
My
My
experience was
experience was
pretty
pretty
focused,
focused,
and it
and it
was
was
since
since
Saturday
Saturday
when
when
we've
we've
been
been
talking
talking
about the
about the
three
three
lanes.
lanes.
It
It
was
was
helpful
helpful
during the
during the
meditation
meditation
for me
for
to
me to
hear
hear
you
you
say
say
that you
that you
don't
don't
participate in
participate in
lane
lane
three,
three.
it
It
just
just
happens.
happens
Because
because
when you
when you
said
said
that, it
that,
was like I was like
my
my body
body
was
was
freezing
freezing
down and it
down
was
and it was
happening, and I
happening.
was
And I
like,
was like,
oh, okay,
okay,
like
like
unlike you
unlike
would
you would
move your
move your
car
car
over
over
to a
to a
third
third
lane,
lane,
that
that
place is
place is
always
always
there,
there.
and
And
it's
it's
just
just
like you
like you
say,
say,
negating
negating
lanes
lanes
one and
one and
even
even
two
two
to
to
be
be
participating,
participating,
not
not
participating
participating
rather,
rather,
to
to
like
like
have
have
that
that
part
part
be
be
Yeah,
the
yeah,
the
lane
lane
you're
you're
in.
in.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Lane number 3 is always there. Whatever masters declare, and it is a fact. If mind does not have the peace and happiness and the love, then how much you purify the mind, that will not manifest. So our mind is so much obsessed with the lane number 1 that it never realizes that peace is my essential nature. Are you getting it? That is where the journey of the Eastern wisdom comes. We don't realize. We don't recognize. No, 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 no. It's all about action and reaction and anger and hesitation and long list of impurity of the mind. Rightly said. Thank you, Brandy. So, how are you, Cherry?
I started out fighting, well, a lot of impurities, but I didn't fight them.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I liked when you said lane number 3 is always there,
Yeah,
because I didn't struggle
good.
to, succeed.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was originally mad at myself because I was having all this agitation and physical problems.
Yeah,
And so I just, I didn't struggle, I just followed the lesson, and I guess I must have been using discernment to,
yeah, yeah.
um, I did it to the extent that I could.
Yeah, that's good.
And it just went there by itself. Just, yeah.
Yes, that is the most important statement. You went by yourself. You need not to do anything.
Yeah.
So when I am excited or I force myself to reach to a particular state, that is lane number 1. That is ego. That is impure mind. Whether you say it's an impure mind, whether you say it's a delusion, whether you say ego, it is the same thing. Lane number 1 teaches us unconsciously have been heavily conditioned, and it teaches that you have to struggle, you have to fight, you have to reach to that state. Even in our personal, professional, social life. And that causes a lot of challenges. And then the mind becomes more and more impure. How are you, Barbara?
I'm
I'm
very
very
good,
good,
thank
thank
you.
you.
It took me a little while to get relaxed and into the meditation today for some reason. I think I started off very tired, and that might have been part of it. But once I did, it was very deep and it was very nice.
Very nice and deep, yeah. So, what our masters declare that even our fatigue and the tiredness has something to do with the lane number 1. That brings in the past impression, thoughts, ideas. Because if I do not think that I'm tired, I'm not tired. So as we progress, we will reach to that state. So beautiful. But later on, you realized and you went deeper. Very good. How are you, Sam? Where is Sam? Here is Sam.
Good. Found the breathing very easy today
Good.
and found myself in lanes 2 and 3.
Very good. So one point that you said, I will go back what we discussed yesterday, you, me, and Stephen. So what is going to happen? Let me open up and tell you that we are breathing for 2.5 minutes. If you increase maybe for 3 minutes, 10 minutes, but ultimately we have to return to only 2 or 3 minutes. So what is the secret behind it? The simple secret is that when you do not find any obstruction in the flow of the breath while doing the chest breathing, the belly breathing, and both, no obstruction at all, as if it's a clean, it's open highway in the midnight. That is the flow of your breath. Your mind is with you. You cannot drop into the lane number one. But for that, we have started with 2.5 minutes. We may go up to 5-6 minutes and then we return to 2.5 minutes. I think I know that you lay a lot of stress on the breathing, so I thought better to talk about that little bit. How are you, Ashok?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It was very good. And but I was feeling some difficulty in breathing. But I didn't allow my mind to feel as a resistance to it. Again, the lane 1, 2, 3 during the daytime as well.
Good.
Observing whole day.
Even with your honey.
When me or someone like honey, she's in lane number 1, 2, 3. So I adjust myself not to strike on it.
Yeah. Adjustment is understanding.
And
Yeah.
that is
Very good. Yeah.
that
Leave them on their own.
things are opening now.
Things are opening. Very good. Yes,
Thank you.
I could see the progress. Very good, Ashoka. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. It was good, peaceful, very calm, totally absorbed.
Oh, totally absorbed. Wonderful. I met your honey also. I think you invited me, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Is she not attending your program?
She is with the like taking care of the daughter.
Oh, daughter. Okay. Yes. That's okay. And how are you, Sangeeta?
सर आज थोड़ा डिस्टर्ब हो गया था बट पीसफुल था एकदम
Peace.
और सर डेली लाइफ में भी चेंजेस ये है कि अब किसी के साथ बहस करने का मन नहीं करता
That's very
क्वाइटनेस है
important. Yes, what she is saying that now her mind is not ready to unnecessarily argue with anyone. So obviously that's a change. That's a change. So you see that in the journey of the meditation, we are not talking of hallucinations and imaginations. We are talking everything that is very practical, that should bring the transformation in our life. Thank you. That is all for